Okay, hello and good evening, everyone. Welcome and thank you for joining us at O Talks at Ohmyhome. My name is Darren Teo, your host. For today's session, we'll be sharing with you many insights, do's and don'ts, and tips on viewings, negotiations, and the buying procedure. This is part 4 of our Buying an HDB 5 days crash course. And with just 30 minutes a day, you become a super buyer. And for our final part, we will wrap it up with keys collection and moving in, which will mark the end of the buyer's journey. For those viewers who have been following us so far, a big thank you to you. We hope that you have found the course to be very useful and practical for your buying journey. And now, to introduce our guest speakers this evening, we have another tag team from Ohmyhome, but this time they are from the North Zone. They are Clarence Liang, our team manager and HDB sales lead, and Kevin O, our team leader of the North team.
Hello, good evening, everyone. This is Clarence.
Hello, good evening, everyone. This is Kevin.
Hello, welcome, guys. Very happy to have you guys with us. Now, Kevin and Clarence are both seasoned agents, and they have been in real estate for more than 10 years each. Well, we know from O Talks in Season 1 that the North Zone has the most top-selling towns in Singapore. And Clarence and Kevin are also Ohmyhome's top-selling agents who have transacted more than 100 units combined in just the last 12 months. So both of them have conducted plenty of viewings and negotiations of properties, and they are eager to share their experience with you tonight. Now, let's look at the topics that we'll be covering tonight. And tonight's topics are 1, how to arrange viewings, 2, how to conduct negotiations, 3, buying procedures, and what are the paperwork. Okay, let's go to the viewing stage. Where should buyers start and how do they plan their viewings? Over to you guys.
Thank you, Darren. Okay, now we are going into the most exciting part of the buying journey. That is to start viewing houses. Before we go into the details, let me first highlight that it is advisable to register the intent to buy from the HDB resale portal before we start the viewing process. To register your intent to buy, simply download the Ohmyhome app. Then go to the HDB buyer's journey, where you will see the step-by-step guide to help you complete the entire buying process. One of the steps, as you can see here, is submit intent to buy. Just click on it and follow the guide. Do note that you will need to register the intent to buy before you can place an offer for any units. If the intent to buy is not yet registered, we will not be able to apply for the valuation or go through the resale application.
Yes, Clarence. I came across a few cases where DIY buyer did not register the intent to buy before they put in an offer to buy a unit. And then they realize that they cannot apply for the valuation. This is because, according to HDB regulation, the intent to buy must be registered before the option to purchase can be issued to you. In the end, they have to ask the seller to reissue the option to purchase with a new option date after they have registered the intent to buy. So a lot of time was wasted there.
Exactly. That is why buyers need to get all the necessary homework done before going out to view houses. Once the intent to buy has been submitted, you will immediately receive a notification on whether you are eligible or not eligible to purchase a resale flat. If you are seeing this on your resale portal, it means you are now ready to start searching for houses to view.
Well, that's a very good piece of information, as many buyers probably would not be aware unless they are advised by an agent. So, once you have registered their intent to buy, where do they start searching?
Okay, Darren, this is where the action starts. Let's take a look at our Ohmyhome app. There are thousands of listings available on the Ohmyhome platform. All the listings posted are either by homeowners or by Ohmyhome agents. All the listings are genuine and unique. You will not find multiple listings of the same property. Therefore, searching for units is a breeze. Let me show you. Select Find a Home, then choose Sales, since we are looking for a home to purchase. If you know exactly what you are looking for, you can enter the address that you are interested to buy, or you can narrow down your search by choosing some filter. For instance, you can choose Nearby, search by town, or if it's nearby any MRT or nearby school. So let's say you want to find a place that is near Sengkang MRT station. You can choose Search by MRT, followed by northeast line, and search Sengkang. Immediately, the available unit within 2 kilometers of Sengkang MRT will show up. You can even widen the search to 4 kilometers if you want to know the available units that you can be eligible for the proximity housing grant. You can further narrow down your search by selecting filter, where you can select the price range, the size, the flat type like 3-room or 4-room, and the most suitable listing will show up. In addition to that, you can post your requirements under the shout out feature. Select the menu on the top left corner and then select view shout out. What is shout out? Shout out allows you to post what you are looking for, your requirements for your purchase, and homeowners can connect with you if their units match what you are looking for. So to post your own shout out, click on the plus button at the right corner bottom. Next, choose I want to buy. Enter the location that you wish to buy, followed by enter the budget that you have. Type of property are you looking for? For this, we are looking for HDB. And even the sizes and how many bedrooms you can indicate. Just click post, and then owner who have matching units will connect with you.
Wow, yes, this is definitely a very useful feature for DIY buyers. Instead of searching for units one by one, you can simply post what you are looking for and let owners come to you to tell you what they have. Yep, the Ohmyhome app is super user-friendly, and searching for a unit within the app is so simple. And it's completely free of charge to use.
Yes, correct, Karen. It's very simple and free of charge. Once you have selected a unit that you are interested in, for example, this unit, Block 102, Simei Street 1, just click on the listing and you can view the video and the beautiful photo of the unit, together with a very detailed description of the unit. Information within the app includes a location map and amenities nearby. You can also get an insight of the past transaction in the area that you selected. There is also a loan calculator able to let you calculate the estimated loan needed and the monthly repayment amount. Okay, so now let's say you wish to view this unit. All you need to do is to click on contact owner, and then you can check directly in the in-app check function to find out more details of the unit. And you can even immediately arrange an appointment to view the house just at fingertip.
Well, thank you for sharing the app, guys. It is definitely a very good tool to find properties. With so many listings available, what should we take note of before making a viewing appointment?
Okay, Darren, to make sure you are viewing the most suitable units, you need to know what are your requirements. Remember, what are the must-haves and what are the good to have? Priorities versus preferences. Now, if those important requirements have already been fulfilled, for example, you have decided on the location, you can then go on with your preferences and ask questions such as the floor level, whether it's low, mid, or high floor. You can ask about the facing of the unit, if the unit is a north-south facing or if there's any west facing. Or you might want to know about the condition of the house, whether is it in original condition or if it is renovated. And if it's renovated, when was that done? This may reflect and affect the budget that you are setting aside for renovations. And if you only want a corner unit, better to ask this upfront before scheduling the viewing, because it's common to see advertisements which do not clearly indicate whether the unit is a corridor or corner unit. In my many years of experience handling sales and purchases, I have encountered many buyers who did not first find out all these factors and they start going around to view houses. Ended up they wasted a lot of time both for themselves and the homeowners because they realized that the units did not fit what they want. So in order to save yourself precious time and not make wasted trips, it is important to ask for information that are the most important to you. Now, the next point to take note of is your loan. By now, you should have your loan eligibility checked. Some sellers will want to know if you have applied for your HLE or bank loan IPA. If you haven't done so, sometimes they may not be so willing to show you the house. So you may want to highlight that you have done so and that you are a ready and sincere buyer.
Oh yes, there was this once when I was selling a unit and a DIY buyer came to view. The buyer liked the unit very much and were planning to take a HDB loan, but have not applied for their HLE yet, so they could not commit to an offer. And when the seller realized that the buyer has not even applied for the HLE, guess what? I got a scolding from them.
Oh dear.
Oh no.
For bringing a buyer who was not ready to commit. Fortunately, the buyers was sincere, quickly got the HLE, and eventually we still able to sell the house to them.
Nice. That's a good outcome. Okay. So now that all the homework has been done, it's time to schedule and arrange the viewings. Now for scheduling, it is advisable to schedule viewings at least 1 or a few days in advance to allow the owner or the agent to plan their time and get the property ready for viewing. To have an efficient viewing schedule, try to arrange the units in similar locations within the same time block so that you don't have to travel back and forth. Viewing of each unit should take at least 10 to 15 minutes, and it is recommended that you have a buffer of around 30 minutes in between each unit that you are viewing. You know, sometimes the appointment might be delayed because of the agent or the owner, or maybe you saw a unit that you are interested in and want to spend a little more time in the house. So it's good to have more buffer in between rather than having to rush to the next house.
Okay, looks like we are all set to start the viewings. So once the buyer has made the viewing appointments, what should they look out for during the viewing? Do you have any tips for this?
Okay, for viewing tips, let me break it up into before, during, and after the viewing. Now, before the viewing, probably a few hours before the viewing, it's good to double confirm the appointment in case the owners or agent has forgotten about it. Then reach the block 5 to 10 minutes earlier than your appointment time to walk around the surrounding of the block. Look out for the location of the rubbish center, the car park, or if there are any noisy neighbors around. These are the factors that might put you off in deciding which house you want to buy eventually.
Clarence, this reminds me, I once had this buyer who was very particular about the location of the lift and the brightness of the void deck. You see, the buyer was a single lady, and she was very concerned about the safety of the surroundings.
Oh yeah, safety is definitely very important as well. Now, so after you walk around the surrounding, now it's time to go to the unit itself. Once you are at the unit, enter the house, be polite, say hello to the owners. Start walking around the house and take note of the condition of the house, especially if you are not intending to renovate much. Check if there are any leakages from the ceilings, especially in the bathrooms. Check the flooring. How is the flooring? Are there any cracks? Are there any tiles that are popping? Other aspects to look out for are the layout, the storage area, and the facing of the windows. Go stand near the windows. Check if you hear any sounds. Are they pleasant sounds or it's very noisy? If you have any questions, do not feel hesitant to ask the owners or their representative. If you see any rooms that are not open, you can politely ask if you can enter to take a look. Most importantly, you must like the home itself. What I mean here is to look beyond the current state of the house. Remember that you are buying the property, not the current look. So don't be affected by the furniture, the fittings, or even the wall colors. Because eventually you'll be taking over a vacant unit and you will be furnishing up the house with your own preferred designs and colors. Also, it'd be good to take down notes of every house that you have viewed, the things that you like and the things that you might not like, so that you can do your comparison later on.
One thing to note, we shall be thoughtful in giving comments to the owners. Every owner is house proud, so any negative comment should be kept within yourself for the purpose of understanding the property better rather than to put the home down in hope of a better price. If there are things that you do not like about the house, for example, an odd-shaped kitchen, then we can consider whether renovation will be able to resolve it.
That's true. Right. Okay. So now after viewing the house, smile and thank the owners for their time as you leave the house. It's always good to leave a good impression, especially in the event that you like the property. In fact, this is the #1 tip that will help you with your negotiations later on.
So after all the viewings and you have finally shortlisted some unit that you like, you may want to arrange for a second viewing within the week to bring along your family members. Some buyers even bring their feng shui master or contractor to take a look as well. The reason you don't want to wait too long is because good units at times sell extremely fast. As an agent, I have sold so many homes in just the first week. Also, it will be good to arrange at a different timing from the first time you visited, so as to get a different feel of the home. With this second viewing and second opinion, it should give you a much better idea which is your most preferred home. And then the next step is to negotiate an offer with the owners.
Okay, thank you for such detailed breakdown and tips on the viewings. Let's move on to the next topic on negotiations. I'm sure this is the part where most of our viewers will be very interested in. So, if a buyer has shortlisted a unit and is interested to put in an offer, what are the points that the buyer needs to take note of?
Before putting in an offer, first, we need to do some homework. Research to find out what is the right price to offer. So, how do we do that? We can use the valuation tools that is within the listing in the Ohmyhome app. Go to get a valuation now. Once you click on it, you can get an estimated valuation of the unit in seconds. Next, you should find out what are the transacted prices of surrounding similar units so that you can decide what is a reasonable price to offer. Again, you can check within the advertisement of the unit. Under past transaction, choose View More Data. And a list of the most recent past transactions that are within 200 meters of your selected unit will be available. From here, you can compare the price of other similar units nearby, compare those on similar floor level and how much they were sold.
Okay, so now we have done our basic research. Let's take a look at the thought process into making the right offer. We now know what is the estimated valuation and also the recent transacted prices. We also know what is the seller's asking price. Now, you need to decide how much you like the unit and the value you put into this unit. Of course, you should work within your budget. Once you have a target purchase price, next is to plan the negotiations. For a start, you can work with a slightly lower offer price to allow room for further negotiations. You should also state any other conditions that you might have, such as early move-in or if you are doing contra buying. The idea is to come to a common closing price that both you and the sellers are happy with. Now, those are the points to keep in mind when making an offer. To get a better idea, what are some of the factors that may affect the price negotiation, you may want to consider the following aspects. First, take some time to check out the number of similar units that are also selling within the same area. If there are a lot of options, then you may consider to search around for the best price options. However, if there aren't many options to choose from and you really like the unit, then you wouldn't want to haggle too much and risk losing the unit. The biggest risk in such a case is not the price, but actually losing the unit and having no other options left.
Yes, Karen. I have recently served a buyer to find a unit in Woodlands. They were very specific with what they want. They only wanted a corner EM unit. Such units are very, very rare in the market. So, when they finally found one unit on sale, they immediately put in an offer to buy the unit and were even willing to pay a higher than market price for it.
That is so true. I also had a buyer who only wanted a high floor unit because that will give them an unblocked view of a reservoir. And furthermore, the unit was a corner unit with lots of privacy. So they were willing to fork out an additional $25,000 over another low floor corridor unit in the same block. So in this case, the level of the unit and the view, and being a corner unit, this made a difference to the final price.
Clarence, this also reminds me of another case. A buyer of mine shortlisted 2 units at 2 different blocks. Both were on level 2. One of the units were beautifully renovated, and the other one was original condition. You guess which unit they chose?
Must be the beautifully renovated unit, I guess.
Yes, you are right. But the price that the seller wanted include a $30,000 cash over valuation for the buyer. That sounded a bit scary to the buyer. But it's important to also consider how much it would have cost them if they were to renovate another empty unit to be like this one. This was a really beautiful unit. They took a few days to consider, discussed with our renovation department, and knew that the renovation would easily cost them more than $70,000. So, although they eventually paid $30,000 cash over valuation, you can also view it as they saved $40,000.
That's good. I guess the buyer got a good bargain. That goes to show that sometimes when considering the price of the house, we should also factor in the renovation costs, whether we will eventually be spending or saving more on the renovations. Kevin, other than the above factors, we also know that the age of the unit will play an important part in the final price.
Yes, definitely, especially with so many 5 years old MOP flats coming up in the market. The price of older flats will become the more affordable options in the market. If your buyer prefer to have a larger unit and at a more affordable price, they may consider to go for older flats. Some sellers of older flats are also more open to negotiations as they are aware of competition with the newest flat.
That's right. Another helpful tip to know is to find out how long the unit has been on the market. This may give you an idea of the market response to the unit or help you better understand the seller. For instance, if the unit has been on the market for more than 6 months, this could be an indication that you can try to negotiate a little more. However, if the unit has been on the market for more than 6 months, but in the surrounding vicinity, there is a lot of high transaction volume, it could also mean that the seller is not urgent to sell and has a fixed asking price in mind. But don't let this deter you, because sometimes the seller situation might have changed and they could have a change of mind, and that could be beneficial to you. Also, another one is the convenience of the location. If there are a lot of amenities nearby within walking distance, then probably the units in this location will be commanding a high demand. And again, the price may not be so negotiable. Conversely, if there isn't any good amenities nearby, then you probably can have a bigger bargaining power.
Ultimately, there really is no fixed formula. Every seller's motivation is different and every unit has its pros and cons. So as long as the offer is a reasonable and sincere one, I'm sure the seller will also give it a serious consideration. Once again, the idea is to come to a common closing price with the sellers. As we always say, in every transaction, it must be happy seller and happy buyer.
Wow. Well, thank you, Clarence and Kevin. That was truly a very helpful breakdown of the different things to consider when coming up with an offer that is sincere, calibrated, and objective to try to close the deal. Okay, next. If all goes well with the buyer and the seller and a deal is struck, where do we go from here? What's the procedure?
Okay, after all the negotiations and the price has been agreed between the buyer and the seller, next is to discuss the terms and conditions. Example, the option fees, the exercise fees, when to submit the resale application, and any request for extension of stay. Now, the option fee is the first part of the deposit to be paid to the seller in exchange for the option to purchase. The amount for option fee is negotiable between the buyer and the seller, and this cannot exceed $1,000. The exercise fee is the second part of the deposit to be paid to the seller when the buyer exercises the option. The option and exercise fees together form the deposit for the purchase, and the deposit shall not exceed the sum of $5,000. Now, the reason why we say it's negotiable is because it really depends on the situation. For example, I once had a seller who was very happy with the buyer and understood that they had a tight cash flow situation and was very willing to take just a $100 deposit from them. Yeah. Then next, as for the date to submit the resale application, it's good to know that the timeline requirements of all parties are met to ensure a smooth transaction. Then when all the terms and conditions have been agreed, it's time to pay the deposit and get down to the paperwork.
Okay, guys, can you expand on what extension of stay means?
Let me explain this. Extension of stay is for sellers who need more time to move out of the place after the completion of the resale transaction. This usually happens when the seller has committed to another purchase but do not have an alternative place to stay. This extension of stay can be up for a period of up to 3 months, where both parties need to indicate to HDB of any extension of stay. This extension of stay shall be a mutual agreement between the buyers and seller. It is good practice to have this agreement signed in black and white.
Well, that's true. What about the paperwork?
Okay, for the paperwork, first thing, you need to verify the ownership of the house. You do not want to be paying any money to someone who turned out not to be the real owners. The best way to verify this is by requesting the seller to show you their owner's information on their HDB page. After you have verified the ownership, you can now pay the option fee to the owners. You can make the payment by check, bank transfer, or cash. However, do take note that if you are choosing to pay by cash, you should never pass any cash to the agent. Always hand over cash payments to the owners directly.
That's right, Karen. It is an offense for a salesperson to be handling any transaction money on behalf of their clients. Moving on from here, after the option fee has been paid to the seller or their representative will issue the HDB prescribed option to purchase to you, what we call the OTP. Take note that only HDB prescribed OTP can be used for a HDB resale transaction. Every OTP has its unique serial number. There are 4 pages on the OTP that you might need to pay special attention to. On page 1, ensure that the details like the option date, property address, agreed purchase price, option fee, option expiry date, and the particulars of all sellers and buyers are entered correctly. This option is valid for 21 calendar days from the day that the OTP is issued. For example, if the option date is 1st of May 2020, the buyer will need to exercise the option by 4 p.m. on 22nd of May 2020. On page 2, check that the exercise fee is entered according to what has been agreed. Followed by page 4, check that the number of calendar days as agreed by both buyer and sellers to submit the resale application has been entered correctly. This can be any time between 7 to 60 days, depending on the agreement between the buyers and sellers. Do note that this has to be submitted within the valuation validity period. And the very important page 8, make sure that all the sellers of the property have signed. There should be also a witness signature for the sellers. Okay, does the process sound complicated so far?
Oh, well, it can really get complicated sometimes, especially when the buyers and sellers have conflicting conditions. If you prefer a professional to assist you, Ohmyhome agents can help you with the entire process. From the initial financial calculations to doing research, arranging viewings, all the paperwork, and attending the HDB completion appointment, we will do it for you. All of us are full-time real estate professionals. We do this full-time, we do not freelance. and we have an entire team of technology staff supporting our work. You will also only be assigned an agent who is very experienced and familiar with your targeted area. Our fees are transparent and fixed, ranging from $2,288 to $5,888. So you can trust us to deliver our services with your best interest at heart. Many of our customers have left us testimonials. Do check it out. Now, if you are able to handle all the viewings and negotiations, and you are only stressed out by the paperwork, you can just engage our documentation help as an a la carte documentation service at $1,688. With the documentation service, we will help you with financial planning, ensure all the required procedures are in place, including the intent to buy, the OTP, submission of valuation, submission of resale application, conducting inspection of the unit, and attending the HDB completion. Do chat with us. Call us at 6886-9009.
Okay, upon receiving the OTP, the next step is to apply for the valuation. For DIY buyers, again, you can go to the HDB buyer's journey in the Ohmyhome app and select Submit Request for Value. Once the valuation request has been submitted, you'll be able to know the valuation result from your resale portal within 10 working days. Otherwise, if you are using the Ohmyhome buyer documentation service, of course, our professional salesperson will be handling the rest of the process from here.
Okay, and the deal is done. Well, thank you guys for guiding our buyers on viewing, providing the tips on negotiations, and also summarizing the buying procedures up to the submission of the valuation. All they have to do now is wait for the official valuation report, and next, exercise the OTP, which will be elaborated in our next session tomorrow. So now, let's look at the comment section and see what are the questions we have from the viewers. We have a question here. Okay, the question one is, if after the first round of viewings and I like a particular unit very much, should I offer immediately or should I wait and view some more?
Okay, Darren, that's a very good question. Should you offer immediately or should you wait? In my opinion, I would say if you view the unit and you like it very much and it fulfills all your requirements, do not hesitate to make an offer. Because if it's a popular unit, then many other people would have viewed the unit as well, and offers will be coming in pretty fast. I'm sure you do not want to lose out on the unit that you like. So this is why it is always so important to do all the necessary homework before we start our house searching, so that the moment you see a house that you really like, you can immediately put in an offer and not risk losing out on the unit.
Okay, thank you, Clarence, for your opinion on that. Yes, sometimes you do need to move fast when you see something you like, so you won't lose it. Okay, let's take another question. Question two. Question goes like this. After paying the option fee, if we decide not to proceed with the purchase, what will happen?
Darren, the option period is 21 calendar days. And if you decide not to proceed, I'm sorry, your option fee will be forfeited and no deal.
Okay, thank you, Kevin, for that answer. So it would be advisable that you are sure about the property before making that commitment. Okay, for the rest of the questions, let's take a look. Well, our team will continue to answer them offline. So be sure to look back to get your answers there. Okay. So there you go. All you need to know about viewings, negotiations, and the paperwork involved in the buying procedure in 30 minutes. Okay, thank you once again, Clarence and Kevin, for the very interesting evening. We really enjoyed the session.
Thank you, everybody.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. Well, that was Clarence and Kevin, our North team representatives. And thank you everyone for staying with us at Talks at Ohmyhome. We trust you are now better informed about where to find good listings, how to negotiate, as well as what to do with all the paperwork. And remember to tune in again, but we will be covering part 5 of 5 on key collection and finally the moving in.